Hi, my name is Lauren Tomlinson, and I am a polymer clay artist based out of Rochester, New York, and the author of Be a Polymer Clay Pro. And through this book, I give a bunch of general knowledge about polymer clay, then I walk you through a lot of techniques, and then we move into some projects. And today I'm going to be walking you through one of those projects. We're going to be working on some tea light houses that are a great little home decor project that is beautiful for your mantle around the holidays or even all year round. And I wrote this book really hoping to encourage you to let your creativity shine. And I really love and have such a passion for polymer clay. I've been working with it for over 20 years, and I just want to share that joy with you. And I really want you to feel encouraged to progress in your skill and feel confident when you are creating. I really hope you also know that you can mix and match any of these techniques with any of the projects. You do not have to follow it step by step if you don't want to. If you want to change a solid color of something to a pattern or insert one certain technique with a different project, please feel free to do so. That's how I wrote it. That's what I hope you do. I hope that you find your own style and your own creativity, and just explore the medium of polymer clay. There's so many things that you can do with it. And throughout the book, I also go through a bunch of tips and tricks that I hope will help you progress even faster, and that you just have a lot of fun with it. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is start with our white clay. I prefer to mix my white clay. I like a 1-to-1 ratio of Primo and Sculpey Souffle. You can, of course, use any white you want. This is just what I prefer. Okay, I have my white clay rolled out to a little over 3 millimeters. We are working with clay that is a little thicker than you would use for something like jewelry. With home decor projects, you want them a little thicker to make them more durable. I'm also working on a piece of paper because that will make it easier to maneuver, twist, turn, and then also transfer these to my baking sheet into the oven, because we want these to be as straight and flat as possible. We don't want anything to warp the shape because that will make it more difficult in the end. We're going to start with the front pieces. I have here a cutter that in the shape of a house. I bought this off of Etsy a couple years ago. You can find cutters like this pretty much anywhere, and they can be any shape you want. This is the shape I have myself, but you can use any shape you want. And if you don't have a cutter like this, you can use a paper template instead. So we're just gonna cut out our pieces. All right, we have our 5 houses and they look great, very cute, but I want to switch it up a little bit. I want to cut these into a little bit of different shapes, and I'm just going to use my blade here to cut off the chimneys and some of the chimneys and the roof pieces here. I just want to go for a slightly different look on these. Just try to get it as close and as clean as possible. So we'll cut the chimney off of this one too. You can use your finger to just kind of smooth it out gently. All right, so now we are going to make some windows for these houses. I am choosing to use these long rectangles for my windows, but you can use anything you want. You can use different size circles, squares, half circles, anything you like. I just like the look of these long rectangles, so that's what we're gonna use. Now you can position these windows any way you like, as many as you like. Just keep in mind that if you put too many, it will compromise the integrity of the piece and make it a little weaker, and you'll be able to see the candle through the windows a little too much if you have too many windows or if they're too big. But you can, again, make them any way you want. I would make sure that the window is not cutting through the end of the piece, because we are going to be gluing a piece to the back of it that we don't want to see. So keep your windows at least a little bit above the edge. And I do 1 to 2, sometimes 3, but usually 1 to 2 windows in each house. If something gets stuck in there and your fingers don't fit, use anything to just poke it out. It's just a knitting needle that I have sitting over here. Now we have all our windows cut out and they are ready to be transferred to the baking sheet, and then we will make the back pieces that the tea light will sit on. When you're working with white, the lint tends to show up more prominently on them. So before you put it in the oven, I have a jar of rubbing alcohol here and a Q-tip. You just dip it in, and then you can very gently just kind of lift off any little piece of lint that you see. So I am just using the bottom of my house cutter for the bottom of the piece because it is the correct length. It's as long as it is wide. And then I'm just gonna trim the roof piece off and make sure my tea light can sit on it nicely. You just want to make sure that it is as wide as your house and long enough to sit the tea light on it. I'm going to need 5 of those, and then I'm going to bake all my pieces. I have all of my backs. They're all trimmed and ready for the oven. I'm going to bake them at 275 with a cardboard box tenting them so that they don't get scorched, and I'm going to bake them for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. All right, our pieces have been baked, and I had used my Dremel to sand them. I hope you can see the difference. I would say that sanding makes the biggest difference in whether or not your piece looks polished and finished. I'm gonna clean up that part right there with my X-Acto knife, but sanding will help make your piece look so much better. I use my Dremel with some felt tips. I use this for all the outside edges, and I use a smaller one for the windows. You can also use an X-Acto knife, and this part right here, my sander couldn't quite get. You just very carefully trim that a little. You can also use your X-Acto knife to trim the windows as well if you don't have a smaller tip like this. In order to get a strong bond between the two pieces, we are going to rough up 2 of the edges with some sandpaper. This is the fastest way to do it. You can also use your X-Acto knife to do like a hatch cross pattern with this, going this way, going that way. But using some rough sandpaper will make that even faster. This is 80 grit. And we're just going to take one of the edges and run it across. Once you get it all nice and rough, you can get this piece, and we just want the bottom just a little bit, kind of roughly the same size as the bottom piece. Just going to rub it across like this. Until it is also roughed up. Brush as much of the dust off as possible. You can wash them with water and a little bit of soap if you want, or just water. You can use a brush like this. Now all our pieces have a little bit of sanding on them. We are ready to glue them. I am using a gel super glue. The gel is going to give you a really strong bond. You don't have to use super glue. You can use Loctite gel, or I think Gorilla Glue also has a great gel glue, but look for gel, super glue, and whatever brand you prefer. We are going to put the glue on our sanded little edge. A healthy amount, but not so much that it gets everywhere. And then you are going to attach it to the bottom of one of the pieces. You want to hold it upright with your hands until you can kind of feel that the glue has set at least a little bit. Trying to keep it as straight up and down as possible. You can also brace this against something flat if you like, but you don't want anything to push it one way or the other, otherwise it'll dry crooked. Once you feel it's kind of set a little bit and that you can move your hands without it falling over, you can just set it aside and do the rest of them. Once you have finished gluing them, you can set them aside. I would leave them for at least 24 hours so the glue has a chance to completely set. I have these that I have had sitting for 24 hours, and after that, they are all ready for a tea light. They would look great on a mantle or a shelf. And just as a reminder, polymer clay is flammable, so please only use battery operated candles. Do not put an actual flame on these. I really don't want you to burn your house down. Like I said, you can do them in different colors. I've done a couple in black as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you try this tutorial yourself.